The Great Reset? Yes, but not so fast. If you've been following financial survival commentary since the global financial crisis of 2008, or even earlier, you've heard it. The Great Reset is imminent. The story is seductive. One morning, the dollar collapses, gold is instantly revalued. A new world currency takes its place, and chaos sweeps the streets. It's a powerful story. It sells books, headlines, and YouTube ads. But it's not how reality works. Resets do happen. Every fiat system in history eventually ends. Every debt bubble eventually bursts. But they don't play out on internet timelines. They unfold in stages over years with messy politics and partial solutions before the big break. That's where we are today. The reset has already begun, but it's not a bang event. It's a gravitational process pulling us toward the end of the cycle in the early 2030s. The challenge is to recognize the signs early and prepare without falling for either doom, hype, or complacency. Since 2008, analysts, hard money advocates, and financial skeptics have been predicting collapse, and they weren't entirely wrong. The warning signs were there. Post-2008 bailouts and QE, central banks printed trillions to prop up insolvent banks and governments. Debt supercycle, global debt has ballooned to levels mathematically impossible to repay. Gold and silver communities. For decades, metals bulls have hammered the theme, fiat dies, metals endure. Crypto rebellion? Since 2009, Bitcoin has given a new generation its own anti-fiat rallying cry. The logic is sound. You can't inflate forever. But timing has always been the trap. So why, after 15 plus years of imminent collapse predictions, does the dollar still dominate? Three main reasons. Dollar dominance, network effect. The US dollar remains the global reserve currency. Oil, trade, and debt are priced in dollars. As Martin Armstrong always stresses, confidence is everything. As long as the world has more confidence in the dollar than in any alternative, the system survives. Financial engineering. The Fed and its peers have endless tools, QE, repo markets, swap lines, derivatives, to patch leaks and kick the can. Treasury market depth. The U.S. Treasury market is still the deepest and most liquid in history. The system has lasted not because it's healthy, but because it's too useful to abandon. When people talk about the dollar's network effect, they usually mean trade settlement, bond markets, and liquidity. But the reality is bigger and grittier. The dollar's dominance is reinforced not just by balance sheets and swap lines, but by hard power projection. Aircraft carriers, floating pieces of the US dollar system, ensuring global shipping routes stay open for dollar trade. B-21 bombers and F-35 fighters, symbols of deterrence that make it costly for rivals to challenge the system head-on. Global military footprint. Over 750 U.S. bases worldwide act as nodes of the dollar network, giving it reach far beyond Wall Street. This isn't conspiracy, it's geopolitics. The dollar is not just a currency, it's a system supported by unmatched military, legal, and financial infrastructure. That's why the reset can't be flipped overnight. Dethroning the dollar means displacing the military-industrial complex, the legal contracts, and the enforcement mechanisms that ride alongside it. The patchwork is wearing thin, cracks are everywhere. Debt spiral, U.S. interest expense now exceeds defense spending. That's an end-stage marker in all historical debt cycles. Weaponized dollar. Washington's sanctions strategy has weaponized the dollar. Entire regions, BRICS, the Gulf, parts of Asia are actively developing alternatives. De-dollarization. Commodity-linked trade settlement outside the dollar is moving from theory to practice. Commodity stress, precious metals are breaking out despite suppression. Just last week, silver punched through $40 in the access market after COMEX closed. That's the canary. CBDCs waiting in the wings. Central banks worldwide are piloting digital currencies. These are the planned reset mechanisms ready to roll out when confidence collapses. In other words, the reset isn't coming someday, it's started. Forget Hollywood's idea of a sudden collapse. Monetary resets are messy, staged, and political. History proves it. Bretton Woods, 1944, out of World War II, chaos came a new order. The dollar linked to gold, other currencies pegged to the dollar. Not overnight collapse, but negotiated reset. Nixon shock, 1971. With a stroke of the pen, Nixon closed the gold window. The reset happened in a weekend, but the system didn't end. It morphed into the floating fiat regime we live with today. Argentina and Weimar. Local collapses happen faster, but even there, it's months of chaos, not one single morning. The next reset will look similar. Partial defaults. Governments won't cancel debt outright, they'll inflate it away. Two-tier systems. Expect a shiny new CBDC for official use, while legacy dollars limp along for the public. Hedge asset repricing. Metals and Bitcoin won't reset, they'll revalue as fiat weakens. We are no longer in the someday phase. We're in the early innings of the reset process. 2025, 2028, rising U.S. interest costs, mounting global alternatives, silver and gold breaking ceilings, growing cracks in confidence. 2028, 2032, acceleration of de-dollarization, CBDC rollouts, political fractures, potential confidence crisis. 2032, line 95, Armstrong's models point to a major turning point in confidence and global capital flows. The gravitational pull is set. Who gains? Who gets crushed? Winners, holders of gold, silver, Bitcoin, productive real assets, and those with optionality. Losers, holders of fiat savings, long-duration bonds, unfunded pensions, and anyone fully dependent on government promises. Middle class, squeezed hardest. Those who prepare, diversifying into assets outside the fiat system, fare better. The reset is real, but it's not instant apocalypse. That means you have time to act. Stack real assets, silver, gold, Bitcoin. Don't wait until the herd rushes in. Escape government promises, Social Security, pensions, bonds. These will not hold real value. Build optionality, skills, mobility, networks. Don't depend on a single system. Stay informed. Narratives will shift fast. Independent analysis is survival. As Armstrong reminds us, unlike everything else, crypto never lies. The Great Reset is not imminent like a meteor strike. It's inevitable like gravity. The system won't implode overnight, but we've crossed the line from theory into process. The dollar won't die in a single morning, but it will weaken, restructure, and morph into something new. By the early 2030s, we'll be living under a different financial order. The question is whether you'll be a victim or prepared. P.S. For the master blueprint, grab your copy of The World According to Martin Armstrong here. Martin has been calling these turning points for decades, and history keeps proving him right.